I'm Eric Hoffman, and this is Dad Bod History. While you're here, give us a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and even hit that notification bell so you never miss one of our videos. I recently built this Mitsubishi A6M5 Zero. That's a Model 52 by Cobi. Model 52, maintained by Planes to Fame, is the only Zero that still flies today with its original engine. Like the previous builds I've done by Cobi, this one is fairly solid. It's 280 pieces and is based on the 7th and possibly the most effective variant of the famed Japanese fighter. Enjoy this time lapse and stick around for a little bit of history on the Zero. The Mitsubishi A6M Ryzen, as it was called by its pilots, is one of the most recognizable fighters of World War II, and more commonly known as Zeke, or just Zero, by the Allies. First flown in 1939 and entering service in 1940, the Zero was a carrier-based fighter that may have been the most capable at the time, given its 12-to-1 dogfighting kill ratio in the early years of the war. The Zero proved to be a highly maneuverable fighter that could effectively attack from a high rear position and then outturn their opponents during close-range dogfights. The addition of fuel tanks also gave the Japanese fighter a range of 1,600 miles, much greater than that of any Allied fighters in 1941 and 1942. Allied squadrons developed tactics and maneuvers to deal specifically with the Zero, such as attacking from a high-speed dive in an F-4F Wildcat, or the thatch weave used by a pair of fighters to draw the Zero into the sights of a wingman. After the recovery of the Akaton Zero, a Model 21 that the Japanese failed to destroy after crash landing, the Americans were able to analyze the plane for its strengths. Integrated wing and fuselage design, 2,000 pounds lighter than its American equivalent, and a high rate turn, as well as some of its weaknesses. Little protection for its pilots, a low never exceed speed in dives, and an inability to roll to the right as compared to the left. The Zero was an attack machine, designed to have high firepower and maneuverability, but not to take as much damage as Allied aircraft were. By 1943, the Zero had fallen behind its Allied opponents. unable to maneuver at high speeds or even reach the speeds new Allied aircraft were achieving. The Zero was being made obsolete. As the Japanese also failed to counter Allied tactics, the Zero, still the workhorse of the Japanese Imperial Navy, could not fulfill its role to hold back the island-hopping industrial might of American-led forces in the Pacific theater of war. One might equate this to German panzer divisions losing experienced operators and instructors toward the end of the war, resulting in a reduction of effectiveness. Beginning in October 1944, the Japanese commenced the infamous kamikaze campaigns, from the Japanese word meaning divine wind. In this last phase of the war, as it was clear the Allies would not be stopped in their drive to crush the Axis powers in Europe and the Pacific, the Japanese embraced the Bushido code of the samurai and readily opted for death over defeat. 3,800 pilots, many piloting outdated Zeros, would die in their attempts to destroy Allied vessels. With a success rate of close to 20%, they managed to kill nearly 7,000 Allied personnel and sink roughly 50 ships. While highly effective in the early months of World War II, modifications to and variants of the Zero lagged behind Allied advancements for much of the war. Yet the Zero managed to curate a reputation for invincibility and terror even into August 1945.